Alright, I'm restoring a 1976 Pavoni Europiccola. What I'm doing here is cleaning out some of the rust on the rubber mats. Um, I had a nice intro going and I think I accidentally deleted that footage. So I was just kind of showing some of the comparisons of the different rubber mats from different models. I've got the group head off and I'm replacing all the seals. So I'm getting it out with a pick. After a while, all the seals get really hard. If you maintain your unit and do the yearly seal up swap like they recommend, they come out much easier. If you don't use it as much, you might be able to go 2 years. Modern day rubbers, silicone gaskets and stuff are a lot better than the old ones. Those 3 screws that I showed up, you can, if you can pause it when you go back. I was just showing that some models have longer bolts in the group head than others. Specifically, one of my brass models has really short group head screws. I'm cleaning the sight glass cover right now, so I was just cleaning some of the grit out. Aluminum foil works really well for cleaning rust and grime and dirt off steel and chrome. Because the aluminum's softer, it doesn't risk scratching it and gets all the stuff off pretty well. And it forms to areas, so it really helps get in different cracks and crevices. With steel and chrome, specifically what's happening when there's rust, um, there's a chemical reaction that goes on from the heat, from the friction. The aluminum and the iron oxide create aluminum oxide and get rid of the iron oxide. So basically, you're creating aluminum rust, which isn't as detrimental, but then you brush it off. So now I've installed the sight glass, so I'm installing the nut on the top. Um, Instead of using the nut, I'm actually putting in a pressure gauge. This is one I use for testing on all my Europiccolas, even the models that don't come with one. If I had all the extra money, I'd put it on all of them. But I want to keep this unit specifically as original as possible, just seeing as how vintage it is. So right now I'm getting the roll pin out of the steam wand so I can replace the gasket bushing that's in the middle of that. Um, Most of the washers are copper or brass, so they clean up pretty well, and you can reuse a lot of them. So now I'm checking the safety valve. I want to make sure that it's good to go because this unit doesn't have any safety features other than thermal fuse. And seeing as the next owner won't have the pressure gauge like I do, I want to test the pressure, make sure the safety release is working so that I know that they're going to be safe. And then I can verify what pressure it releases at using my testing gauge that I have. So I'm just setting it up, making sure that it was good, and also for my own information. There's a few different models of safety valves from over the years, so I just like to see what all the different models I have because none of them are the same year. Some of them have a ball bearing, others have a spring with a little silicone seal, and some have a rubber seal with a hole in the middle that I think works in the opposite fashion. It uses pressure to pull it, maybe? I'm not sure, but I just like to learn everything. And right now I'm adjusting the steam wand. So what I've done is I've wrapped the nut in Teflon tape so that the nut can be tight, but the steam wand can still be a little loose so that you can adjust the angle up and down. So I just check all the tension, find a good medium, and then I'm going to check it for leaks when I test the unit. So I also put some silicone grease on the handle. That helps prevent it from rusting. Um, it's just something I've seen in some of these older units, corroded handles. So to prevent that, I put a little grease on there. That'll create a nice little barrier for moisture. And what I'm doing now is cleaning some of the rust on the underside once I got it put all back together. You can see the rust kind of goes from down at the bottom up to the top. That's where the major rust, it's a little heavier, a little pitting. So again, I'm using the aluminum foil to do that. I'm cleaning all the edges. Every little spot where I see some orange rust, I'm using that aluminum, and it's doing a great job of scrubbing it away. And you can see here the end result. It's pretty good. So that's going to prevent that rust from doing any more damage. So steam one, I had to tighten it a little bit, but we've got some flex here. It's dripping off. I have it on this drip tray angle, and that way I've got the rubber mat off because I want to be able to see if there's any leaking underneath it. So we've just got bare bones, electric to heater, and then I have it on the rubber just in case it does leak. Those metal contacts don't immediately come into contact with water, because once again, no ground. An old unit. Ground didn't exist. Electricity never needed to be grounded before the modern era. And I was just about to blow this thing up myself. Brand new heating element. So I'm gonna fill it with water. And like it says, I'm gonna check it for leaks. I'm looking underneath the unit, looking all around just for leaks without pressure. Now I'm checking the switch, and well, I should have plugged it in first. And now we'll watch it and see how long it takes me in time lapse to realize, oh, hey, there you go. Boom. Now we're burning with gas. Got a light, got power. I'll take it from here. Hey, you can see it was at 80, so it's slowly going up. And that's just on 200 watts. Eventually it might reach temperature. So let me see if we can see. Yeah, see those like waves right there? Now let's go to full power. A little bit more active. Yeah. Now let's watch. So I'm just checking the low wattage heating element. That's the 200. And then I flipped it over to the more powerful one, and you can see at that gauge, the thermometer rose. So I verified that both of them were working. Even though you got light on the power light, you want to double check. And then you can see them bleeding off some of the false pressure, and we're watching the pressure go up and checking the safety valve. Just to jump around a little bit, I'm showing one of the other units I have, just comparing some of the differences. And I had this one, which is from Italy, and I had to swap out the heating element anyways. And when I bought it, I thought it was broken, but it turns out it was just really calcified. And I found a piece inside of it surrounding the heating element, and I'll show that here in a second. But this is the heating element that I pulled out, and here's the piece that I found, just as a little backstory. At one point, so it probably sits really tight, and then it gets soldered like that. I don't know what this is for. Might be for taking it out, taking it off. Maybe it does something. I don't know, I'm gonna have to Google it. And I don't know if this is La Pavoni or if this is custom made, like to, yeah, I don't know. You get some drifts. Woo, everything's hot, be careful. I have a feeling maybe that is what this has to do. It keeps the bubbles, because where this is, the bottom of your sight glass is going to be like right here. So instead of it boiling everywhere and some of the bubbles getting up in your sight glass, maybe this keeps the bubbles above the sight glass. I think that's what it is, and I'm just now realizing it. There's really no way to get that out that I know of, because you've got steam pressure up here. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about so I don't sound like a crazy person. See, I've got a bubble right here. That's air. It's interesting. So it's got water here and then water here, and this bubble can't go up because you've got a higher pressure up top here where the steam is. Let's just see. I got it unplugged. We're gonna tilt it back and look. And you can look with me, and we've got no water under here. It's bone dry. So I'm gonna put it back together, and she's gonna go to her new home, whoever that may be, eBay, local, something like that. This was a fun project. This one was really fun because it's super vintage, and it's in really good condition. It's got some nice character. The copper ones are fun too. I just like seeing nice clean copper. With this one, I'll show you. So you can see it's got lots of patina. This is where it's been covered. And then here's where I polished. Where is it? I didn't polish, but I cleaned a little. So here it's kind of orangey, and then as I turn it, you can see it gets more pink. So that's where I cleaned all the corrosion and stuff and just staining. So I'm looking forward to doing the rest of this one. So wrapped in this heat stuff, and then like this bent, which is not the best, and then heat shrinked, and then stuffed up in there in the same spot. You've got a thermal fuse. It's hard to see, but it has a temperature rating 175C, I think is what it says. That would make sense. 128C. So this one's bad. They have the resettable ones now, which is smarter. So anyways, this is usually bent like this. I'm not an influencer, it won't work. But just like this, inside here, and it's stuffed in there. When it goes bad, people think their units are bad, sell them for a sweet discount. That's that. Hope you guys liked it. I want to do some more stuff. I haven't really done any restoration videos in a while. I've got a couple projects planned, but right now I've got 5 more of these to restore. 4 more, sorry. And I'll let you look at one last one. If you can't tell, I really like the copper. This one came from Florida, and it looks like it. It has this great saltwater, salty air patina. I mean, it's still super shiny, but it is dirty. You can see here where I cleaned it a little. Just look at the difference. You can see the screen of the phone mirrored here. I kind of like it, but I might leave the base the way it is, that like orangey, brownish, and then polish it again. Polish the copper on here, because it's gonna look great. This one even has copper on these pieces here that hold the sight glass. Oh, this is 79. Ah, it has water in it that I just drained out. So this one's July 79. It's got a newer switch. I don't know if it's This one looked like it's either been maintained really well or never been used. It's got fresh copper here. All this is clean. I mean, everything. There's no rust. It just has this old copper, like humid air, salty patina to it. Let me zoom out. I mean, it really is beautiful, but I think because some of it's shiny still, but I mean, the seals and everything, it's got very little play. Yeah, everything is just pretty good. Yeah, this was the one, even the inside, I didn't even have to descale it. The whole inside was like perfectly clean. Simple. All right, thanks again, guys. What did I say? Like, follow, like, share, subscribe. Vinny's DIY Workshop. Take care, guys.